Across the ancient world, warriors rose from myth, forged in fire, chosen by gods, and feared by monsters. Heroes who crossed the line between man and legend. From dragon slayers and divine archers to kings who defied heaven itself. These are the figures whose battles reshaped the very meaning of heroism. Today, we rank the 10 greatest mythological warriors of all time. Warriors whose stories still echo through the ages. This is the Immortals, where legends never die. Subscribe and take your place in the ranks of legends. Mythology was never just storytelling. It was a way for ancient civilizations to explain power, fear, destiny, and the unbreakable spirit of the warrior. Every culture forged champions who stood above the rest. Heroes shaped by divine trials, impossible quests, and battles that tested the limits of human will. In this countdown, we revisit those legends, not as distant tales, but as the ultimate champions that defined their worlds. Position number 10, Theseus, the conqueror of the labyrinth. Before Athens became a powerful city-state, it lived under a cloud of fear and humiliation. Every few years, its youth were taken across the sea to Crete, as part of a harsh agreement that no one had been able to escape. In the middle of this crisis, emerged a young man determined to break that cycle. Theseus, son of King Achilles, though some ancient traditions claim he carried the blood of Poseidon. Regardless of his parentage, what defined him were his actions. His defining moment came with the labyrinth, an enormous structure engineered by Daedalus to contain one of the most feared creatures in Greek myth, the Minotaur. Half man, half bull. It represented the absolute dominance of Crete over Athens. Dozens had entered its twisting corridors. None had survived. Theseus understood that defeating the beast would mean more than a heroic victory. It would strike at the political power that kept his city subdued. Fully aware of the danger, he volunteered for the mission. Armed with a simple sword and guided by the thread given to him by Princess Ariadne, he stepped into the maze. Ancient accounts portray him as focused and disciplined, relying on awareness and strategy, rather than divine aid. The final confrontation with the Minotaur was close, violent, and unforgiving. Through strength, technique, and determination, Theseus killed the creature and ended a cycle of terror that had defined Athenian life for years. But Theseus's impact extended far beyond that single battle. Later traditions credit him with uniting the scattered communities of Attica into a cohesive political structure, laying the groundwork for what would eventually become the Athenian state. He became a symbol of leadership and reform, frequently depicted in classical art and referenced in public life as an example of civic strength. Theseus endures not just as the hero who defeated the Minotaur, but as a figure whose actions reshaped the destiny of his people, combining courage, strategy, and responsibility in a way that secured his place among the greatest heroes of the ancient world. Position number 9, Perseus, the slayer of monsters. Before heroes built empires or raised swords for glory, there was one who faced the impossible and triumphed. His name was Perseus, the first great hero of Greek mythology, born from prophecy, shaped by the gods, and destined to confront what no mortal could. Perseus was the child of Danae and Zeus himself, who appeared to her as a shower of golden rain. Fearing a prophecy that his grandson would one day kill him, Danae's father imprisoned her and cast them both into the sea in a wooden chest. Yet the gods had other plans. Perseus survived, grew strong, and his legend was only beginning. King Polydectes, wishing to rid himself of Perseus, set him an impossible task: retrieve the head of Medusa, one of the 3 Gorgons whose gaze turned anyone to stone. A mission doomed to fail, but Perseus would not face it alone. Divine gifts aided him: Hermes' winged sandals, a divinely crafted sword, Athena's reflective shield, and Hades' helmet of invisibility. Armed with these treasures, Perseus journeyed into the shadowed world, confronting horrors beyond imagination, and accomplished the unthinkable. In a timeless scene, Perseus entered Medusa's cave. Avoiding her deadly gaze, he approached using the shield's reflection. With a precise strike, he severed her head. From her blood sprang Pegasus, the winged horse. Perseus did not merely defeat a monster, he claimed an ancient power. His heroism did not end there. On his return, he rescued Princess Andromeda from a sea monster, made her his wife, and founded a dynasty. Later, in a tragic twist, he unknowingly fulfilled the prophecy by accidentally killing his grandfather during games, cementing his role as the instrument of the gods. Perseus became the first great conqueror of the impossible, a warrior who faced death without fear, inspiring all heroes who followed. Where others fled, he advanced. Where there was darkness, he brought light. His name endures, because Perseus was not merely a hero, he was the birth of legend. Position number 8. Sigurd, the dragon-slaying flame. His sword cleaved dragons. His destiny reshaped kingdoms and broke hearts. Sigurd was the warrior who defied death, magic, and betrayal. In the ancient Norse sagas, particularly the Volsunga saga and the Nibelungenlied, Sigurd, also known as Siegfried in the Germanic tales, stands as a pivotal hero. Born into the cursed Volsung lineage, his life was woven from destiny, blood, and doom. From a young age, he wielded the legendary sword Gram, a divine weapon reforged from the fragments left by his father. With it, he achieved the impossible. He killed the dragon Fafnir, a creature that not only breathed fire, but had once been a man, twisted by greed and transformed by the curse of the Nibelung treasure. By slaying Fafnir, Sigurd bathed in the dragon's blood, rendering himself nearly invulnerable, except for a single spot where a leaf had shielded his skin, a northern Achilles heel. But victory came at a cost. By claiming the treasure, Sigurd inherited its curse, betrayal, grief, and death. He was manipulated into forgetting Brynhildr, the Valkyrie he loved, and deceived into giving her to another man. His fate was sealed not on the battlefield, but by the dagger of treachery. He was murdered while sleeping, in peace, not in war. Yet even death could not erase his name. In Norse and Germanic mythology, Sigurd is the archetype of the tragic hero. Courageous, unstoppable, but ensnared in the webs of gods, prophecies, and intersecting fates. His story inspired operas, novels, and even Tolkien's works, and his legend endures as a symbol of courage that defies the impossible. Because Sigurd was not just a dragon slayer, he was the warrior who pushed glory to its limits. Position number 7. Beowulf, the bane of beasts. In an era when steel spoke louder than words, a warrior arose who dared to challenge monsters, dragons, and death itself. Beowulf, the champion of the Geats, was not born of divine blood, yet his legend rivals that of the gods. Emerging from the harsh, untamed northern lands, he was more than a fighter. He embodied absolute courage. When Denmark was terrorized by Grendel, a monstrous creature that devoured man under the cover of night, no army could stop it. None, except Beowulf, without weapons, without a shield. Alone, Beowulf faced the beast hand to hand, tearing its arm from its body with raw, unstoppable strength. What others called madness, he called duty. But his battle was far from over. When Grendel's mother rose from the swampy depths to avenge her son, Beowulf descended into her lair, and while fighting her, he found a magical sword that he used to slay her amidst blood and darkness. Decades later, now ruling his people as king, destiny presented its final test, a massive dragon laying waste to his kingdom with fire. Old, fatigued, yet unyielding, Beowulf advanced into his last fight, fully aware he would not survive. He killed the dragon, but succumbed to mortal wounds. His sacrifice saved his people and immortalized his name. The epic poem of Beowulf stands as the oldest in the Anglo-Saxon world, a tale of heroism that not only preserved his memory, but defined what it meant to be a king, a warrior, a true guardian of his people. Beowulf is the model of a hero who, while committed to his people, also seeks eternal glory through his deeds. His tomb, according to legend, was built by the sea so that passing ships could see it and remember that once there was a man who faced fear and death with unmatched courage. Duty triumphed over fear in the heart of one willing to die for his people, and Beowulf fell with his sword held high, facing eternity. Position number 6, Gilgamesh, the king who defied the gods. Before Achilles, before Hercules, before Rome or Sparta even existed, there was one. His name was Gilgamesh, and his story was the first. King of Uruk, 2/3 god, 1/3 human. In the oldest records of humanity, inscribed on clay tablets in the eponymous epic, Gilgamesh emerges as the prototype of the warrior hero, colossal, invincible, and consumed by an unquenchable thirst for glory. He was crowned not only as king, but as a force of nature. According to the tales, he could uproot trees with his bare hands and crush his enemies as if they were dust. He ruled with an iron fist, feared by both foes and his own people. But his legend did not begin on the throne. It began in a quest to escape the fate of all mortals. Alongside his equal, his spirit brother Enkidu, a wild creature created by the gods to challenge him, he embarked on impossible feats. Together they defeated Humbaba, the guardian of the cedar forest, and confronted the celestial bull, sent by the goddess Ishtar as punishment. Gilgamesh feared no divine power. He challenged the cosmic order itself, but every glory comes at a cost. The death of Enkidu shattered his soul. For the first time, the warrior who believed himself invincible felt the terror of mortality. This marked the start of his most perilous journey. He sought immortality, crossing burning deserts, nameless seas, and gates sealed by time. He reached Utnapishtim, the sole survivor of the Great Flood, yet immortality was denied to him. Gilgamesh did not return with eternal life. He returned with something far more precious, the understanding that only legacy is everlasting. The walls he built, the cities he defended, and the story he lived were his true triumph. Over 4 millennia later, Gilgamesh still lives on, because he was more than a king, more than a warrior. He was the first man to battle death and conquer it through legend. Position number 5, Karna, the cursed noble warrior. Some are born into glory, others forge it against all odds. Karna entered the world under the shadow of fate, cast into the river by his mother before he even saw the light. Son of the sun god, he was raised as the child of a humble charioteer. Yet even in silence and obscurity, the divine blood within him burned fiercely. From an early age, he displayed immense strength and martial skill so exact, it seemed born of celestial fire. Still, the powerful denied him his rightful place. Talent counted for nothing. Honor counted for nothing. His origin alone was enough to condemn him. Karna became a warrior without caste, but with a will unshakable. He learned the art of war under the secret tutelage of Parashurama, one of the most feared teachers of Dharma. Though cursed for concealing his divine heritage, Karna never wavered. He pressed forward, always. When the great war of the Mahabharata erupted, Karna sided with the outcasts, the Kauravas, not out of malice but out of loyalty, gratitude, and honor. Though he discovered just before the fight that his foes were his own brothers, he embraced the harder path, the path of duty, the path of sacrifice. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Karna became a force unstoppable. Wielding his celestial bow, the Vijaya, a gift from the gods, every arrow he released carried the weight of judgment. His duel with Arjuna, the greatest archer of the opposing side, was more than a fight. It was the collision of two destinies decreed by the gods. Even when the earth betrayed him, swallowing his chariot in the mud at the crucial moment, Karna did not beg, did not plead, did not fear. He fell standing, pride intact, a warrior who knew that his story would outlive his flesh. Karna is remembered not only for his might, he is remembered for his honor, for defying his era, for never surrendering, even when the universe seemed aligned against him. And today, more than 2,000 years later, millions still speak his name, because Karna embodies something timeless, the spirit of a warrior who fights not only for revenge or glory, but for dignity. Position number 4, chulainn, the hound of divine fury. Half man, half force of nature, chulainn was the ultimate champion of Irish mythology. His name means the Hound of Chulainn, and the story behind it sets the tone for his legend. As a child, he killed the guard dog of a blacksmith and vowed to take its place until a replacement could be found. Thus began the saga of young Setanta, who would grow into the brutal protector of Ulster. But chulainn was no ordinary warrior. He was an unstoppable force on the battlefield. When he entered combat, he unleashed the Riastrad, a war frenzy that transformed him into a terrifying figure. His body contorted, one eye sank while the other burned with fire. His blood boiled, and his strength multiplied to the level of 100 men. It was as if the very spirit of the Celtic lands had been poured into him. Trained by the formidable warrior woman Scathach in the mystical land of Alba, likely Scotland, he mastered supernatural combat skills and wielded the magical spear Gai Bulg, said to release dozens of barbs inside its target, tearing from within, lethal, precise, unstoppable. One of his greatest feats was the defense of Ulster during the Táin Bó Cúailnge, where he faced entire armies alone to protect his kingdom. Each day he defeated a champion in single combat, and each night, wounded and bleeding, he remained standing through spells and sacrifices. Yet chulainn was also a tragic figure. Betrayed, manipulated by gods and enemies, he was forced to fight against his own friends and even his own son. Without knowing it, he ultimately died standing, bound to a stone so he would not fall, staring down his enemies to the very last moment. Even in death, none dared approach him until a crow, sent by the goddess Morrigan, landed on his shoulder. chulainn was not merely a hero. He was the embodiment of Celtic fury, cruel fate, and absolute sacrifice. A warrior who died alone, but was never truly defeated. Position number 3, Arjuna, the celestial archer. Arjuna is more than a legendary warrior. He is the very symbol of dharma, justice, and unmatched precision. The central figure of the Mahabharata, one of India's greatest epics, Arjuna is no ordinary hero. He was personally chosen by the god Krishna as his charioteer and closest confidant. His tale is woven with moral dilemmas, cosmic battles, and feats that defy imagination. From early childhood, Arjuna trained under the master Drona, surpassing all his siblings, his foes, and even his own limitations. His weapon of choice, the Gandiva bow, was a divine gift capable of shooting arrows that could split mountains or ignite the skies. His aim was so precise that he could reportedly hit the eye of a spinning fish by simply watching its reflection in water. Yet his greatness was not measured by skill alone. It was his character that defined him. During the epic battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna hesitated to fight against his own family. It was then that Krishna revealed the Bhagavad Gita, one of Hinduism's most sacred texts, teaching him that fulfilling his duty, even amid tragedy, was the path to true liberation. This moment, standing between duty, soul, and battlefield, elevated him beyond a mere warrior. He became the perfect balance of strength and wisdom. Arjuna defeated legendary warriors like Karna, another titan on this list, and overcame the Kauravas, restoring order to ancient India, known as Shvetavahana, the one with the white banner. He represented peace, but also the lightning that strikes to destroy darkness when necessary. Arjuna was not a god, yet he fought like one, thought like a sage, and triumphed like a king. That is why he claims his place among the greatest warriors in history. Position number 2, Hercules, the hero of the 12 labors. He was neither god nor man. He was a curse walking the earth. Hercules, or Heracles, as he was known in Greek myth, was never meant for peace. From the moment he opened his eyes, tragedy marked his path. The illegitimate son of Zeus and a mortal woman, he was hated by Hera, the goddess of marriage, who pursued him with relentless fury. She sent serpents to his cradle, but the infant Heracles strangled them with his own hands. Thus began the legend of a strength that defied the impossible. Yet his greatest enemy was not outside, but within. Under Hera's influence, Heracles went mad and killed his wife and children. To atone for his actions, he accepted an almost unimaginable penance, the 12 labors. Tasks so brutal they would have destroyed any other man. He killed the invincible Nemean lion with his bare hands, defeated the Lernaean hydra, whose heads multiplied with each strike, captured the Erymanthian boar, the Cyrenean hind, and cleansed the Augean stables by diverting entire rivers in a single day. He descended into the underworld, faced Cerberus, Hades' three-headed guard dog, and returned alive. No other warrior in myth has endured such trials and survived. But Hercules was not just brute strength. He was unyielding will, suffering, honor, and controlled fury. He was slave, lover, father, monster, and redeemer, all at once. His death was not the end, but ascension. Heracles died wearing a poisoned robe, a victim of one final betrayal. Yet Zeus elevated him to Olympus, making him a god. A final act not of reward, but of liberation. The strongest warrior of all time had nothing left to prove. Hercules was the ultimate heroic tragedy, a force that even the gods could not destroy, only transform. An immortal icon, burning in the heart of every impossible battle. Position number 1, Achilles, the wrath of the gods. No one ran faster, no one killed swifter, no one died so young, or became so legendary. Achilles was not just a hero, he was a curse in human form. The son of a goddess and a mortal, he was bathed in the river Styx to become nearly invulnerable. Yet fate, cruel as the gods, left one weak spot, his heel. Trained from childhood by the centaur Chiron, he mastered medicine, music, strategy, and the art of killing. Even as a boy, he became the pride of the Myrmidons. He did not fight, he annihilated. Every clash, every strike was absolute. When the Trojan War erupted, the Greeks knew they could not win without him. Achilles was the raw force of destiny, the arm of divine vengeance. And when he entered the battlefield, the earth shook, the heavens watched, and the air trembled. He killed Cycnus, son of Poseidon. He faced a river that tried to swallow him. He cut down hundreds of Trojans with a fury so immense that even the gods had to intervene. But glory has a price. When Agamemnon took Briseis, his beloved, he withdrew, and the Greeks began to fall, until Patroclus was slain, his friend, his brother in spirit. Achilles donned new armor forged by Hephaestus, and returned to the battlefield as a god of vengeance. No mercy, no pause, only death. Finally, he confronted Hector, Troy's greatest hero, and killed him. He dragged his body for days, not for strategy, but for pain, rage, and the unbearable grief of loss. Yet even the greatest fall. Achilles was struck by an arrow to his heel, guided by Apollo. A brutal death for the most glorious warrior. And yet, Achilles never truly died. Every time a warrior charges into battle without fear, every time someone chooses eternal glory over a long life, there he is. His name has crossed centuries, cultures, oceans. The ultimate warrior, feared, admired, remembered by all. Achilles, the wrath of the gods in mortal flesh. The warrior who chose legend and achieved it forever. If you enjoyed this journey through the greatest mythological warriors, don't forget to hit like, leave a comment with your favorite, and subscribe for more epic stories. And if you're ready to meet the gods themselves, check out the 10 most powerful gods in mythology, now available on our channel.